Help them figure what they want out of life. But you know everything it come with a price. Wanna maximize your money and time. Might have to take the uncommon advice.
Welcome back to another episode of the Uncommon Advice. And we're here with Zenon and myself today. We got some really cool stuff on the docket. So we're going to jump into a lot of cool things today. We're excited. So let's get rolling.
Let's do it. Before we get rolling, I do want to say that I'm a little heartbroken from last night. My Miami Heat couldn't put it off. But Jimmy Buckets, he's back in Miami Saturday. But yeah, let's get it started.
How's that ankle? How's the ankle?
They said it's as big as a baseball last time I heard. So the man's getting like around the clock treatment, but
I don't know. Those Lakers seem to be catching heat right now.
Oh yeah, the Lakers did. I mean, Anthony Davis is just disgusting.
So the question is, can they pull it together?
Yeah.
And the Suns don't. The Suns are getting smoked too.
And Chris Paul's out until Game 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be Look, there you go. We got something for the podcast when we start. We talk sports.
Sports. There we go.
But let's get into it. Let's get into giving our viewers a little bit of the update that we got going on here, Marketing Rebels. And let's start off with something new.
Yeah. We Financial Mavericks still rolling, but we don't got an update for you on that. We've so this section here, as we talk about it, our goal is really to kind of dive into the things that we do within the company on a weekly basis. New brands we're building, audiences we're growing. Things that we're doing in the back end to optimize and make more money. If you go back to my history, before we became Marketing Rebels, we were optimized assets for a long time, and we used to optimize funnels. So like we're taking all that methodology over into Marketing Rebels and doing some cool stuff. So we want to share that stuff with you guys as listeners, so you can understand kind of what we do. We're not only here on a podcast just talking heads with these mics in front of our faces. We're actually out here doing stuff in the marketing space, in the business space on a weekly basis. We're winning and we're losing throughout the week, right? As we figure things out. So
absolutely. And I think I would say the first one we launched it this week. It started Allied Debt Relief. Little bit on Allied Debt Relief. It's basically we are generating leads for other companies to help people who have high debt. Yeah. Basically at a thing, and I'll let Nate jump into it. He has a little bit more knowledge on what the process is on that.
Yeah, so we're doing something pretty cool with it. So Allied Debt Relief is a brand we're building. We do know that currently, if you see what's going on in the economy, there's people with a lot of credit card debt. And so there's these companies out there helping them consolidate that debt, but they're so busy helping these individuals and consumers consolidate that they're not always big lead generators. So they look for companies like us that can generate a lot of leads. And so what we did is we created a super unique spot. Unique flow where it's a chat where you bring back the chat bot. Remember when it wasn't just Chat GPT, it was actually chat bots that everyone was excited about. So we've got this process that worked for us a few years back when they were buying a lot of leads back then, and we're just bringing it back. So we've got a lot of different touch points. The really cool part about this is because we own the audiences and we have the ability to scale the leads pretty quick over there and test things really fast, right? So we have this, it's kind of cool in regards to, we got this chat bot that's operating, and these companies we work with, they only want specific types of leads. So the chat bot actually we ask the questions and then we send them down path A or we send them down path B. And depending on how they answer those questions, if they answer them and they go down path A, they go to one of our lead buyers. If they go down if they answer the questions for process B, they go down over to that other lead buyer. And so we're able to kind of accommodate multiple people at the same time and make sure that, more importantly, that the people are getting what they need and the right information they need. And so we're not just sending someone to company A who's not even able to help them, right? And one thing that we focus on at Marketing Rebel is building brands that people trust, right? Yep. And so in marketing, one of the biggest things you can do is fulfill on the promise you provide when you're a company.
Absolutely. And some of the things you guys are probably going to wonder, how are we making money off of this, is we're getting paid per quality lead that we're sending over to these partners that we've made. And it ranges anywhere between $15 to $55, and I think it can go up even more depending on the relationship you build with them. So that's one of the things that's rolling. And just a small tactic of what we're doing is, like Nate said, we're tapping into those audiences, right? The audiences that we build, we're tapping into them, and we're going to reach out to them first. We're gonna put this in front of them and let them click on the link, let them fill out the form before we go and spend any money on paid advertising or Google ads and stuff. So that's how we're taking advantage, and it's going on for 3 days. We've generated a little bit north of 20 leads already. And I think our goal is to hit 50, right? It's the test run.
Yeah, we're doing a small little test run, so we're not trying to break the system. We're trying to just get some leads through it, make sure. And interesting enough, we sent the first kind of marketing piece out. We generated a couple of leads, came through, but for some reason they didn't get pushed over to the actual client that's buying those leads. So we had to fix that kink, right? That stuff happens. So lesson there is like, definitely don't go and spend tons of money on your marketing until you get some people through the flow of it, know that it works, because things can break. But yeah, so it's not a ton of leads by so far. We're doing a small test of 50 with them, but our goal is to get to the point where we're around 100 leads a day for them inside their business. And that's, but you got to start small with this new test that we're doing. And once we get that dialed in, boom, it's off to the races. So
yeah, and as you can see, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
There's mess ups happen. So we're gonna go there. So that's a little update on that. But
I think the biggest, so before we get into the one piece, so we talk a lot of sports in this office, and before we get to some cool projects that we got coming down the pipeline that we'll share with you, and these are all be things that we kind of round back to and update over time, right? But one thing that we did is we were looking at our processes. So Ashton in our office came in and he's fixing some of our follow-up process and things we have going on, and he went and looked at something on our site and it was broken. And me, in a mode of just like move fast, make changes, get it done, I didn't realize that when we did that, we broke a subscription thing on our landing pages. So we had people subscribing, but they weren't being pushed into where they needed to go. But where that really took us was we went back to finding a big lever that we could pull in the business to create a better experience for those consumers and those people when they do subscribe. And that was restructuring how our thank you pages look. Huge opportunity for, if you're driving leads into your business, there's a huge opportunity for people for you as a business to not only generate revenue, but also build relationships with the consumers by how your thank you page looks and what kind of offers or what they see when they land on that page, as opposed to just saying, thanks for subscribing, right?
yeah, and it's the thank you page. But we also were looking into where are those leads going when they sign up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Nate said, this whole transition happened, and someone really didn't put full focus on it. And just like, okay, where are these leads going? When someone signs up and they hit this thank you page, is this lead being put into the correct list to make sure that they're getting our emails? Is it not? So we're looking at that. We're looking at putting in the UTM tracking links. So there's a lot of things like that we're doing on our back end. Yeah, we come on here. We've been talking the last week how fantastic Financial Maverick has been and other stuff we're doing. But there is a lot of things that we on our end have caught that are mistakes that we got to fix. Right, like I said, we're not perfect, and we're fixing them, and I encourage anybody, any business owner, worker, go back and make sure that everything is working properly, because just one little break in the bridge can mess up a lot of things for you, and I bet a lot of people have been through that.
Leaky buckets. So every marketing campaign, everything is got there's leaks in buckets somewhere. The key is finding it, and also go through and checking that stuff periodically is super important. The more money you spend on paid ads, the more you need to be checking it to make sure it's not broken. You get to $10, $15, $20,000 a day in ad spend and your system's broken, that's a quick loss real quick, right?
Yeah, you'll feel it.
That's a big loss real quick as it keeps rolling.
You'll feel it right away, huh?
Yeah. So I'm excited. Thank you pages. It's a piece of digital real estate that we had forgotten about, that we knew about but had forgotten about, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're maximizing that, and I'm excited to report back on some of those results. When we do actually, once they're implemented, they're executed, we get those things rolling, you're going to see some cool stuff.
Yeah, and with that, you said results. There's a little snip on it. So we did break Ashton in, and Ashton went to focus in on our Google AdSense, mm-hmm. on how to monetize that. Just with the small tweaks that Ashton has made, I think we've made like more money in just 7 days than like half of what we made in the month of, I think it was it April? We made more of it in 7 days after he made the tweak.
Yep.
And it's just it was a small tweak. It didn't do anything outrageous. Mm-hmm. So
a lot of times it's just having eyes on it. And as entrepreneurs, when we start building things and companies and we're moving fast, sometimes we don't put all eyes on a specific thing in the business. And when you don't have, not all eyes, but when you don't have eyes focused on it, that's when things break. That's when you're letting a lot of money just leak right through the bucket.
Hmm.
And so being able to come back and plug those holes and have someone that's focused on it, it's huge for your company.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna spill the beans here a lot. It's just a sneak peek, guys. You guys got to keep watching to get more updates. But just a little out there. So there's two brands that we've been talking about. Like Nate said, sports is big in this office, and there's two brands that we've been talking a lot about, and it's Athlete Factory and Sports Bread, which logos have been picked for those. And I will say this. That's all I'm gonna say. If Nate wants to give you more of a teaser for it, he can. But that's all I'm saying. You're gonna have to stay tuned to find out more.
Well, one thing that we have this weekend is we've got a nonprofit called Champions Football, and it's kind of, we take kids in our community and we go compete in these football tournaments. And we're actually I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, though, if you a lot about sports, I know it's in sports, soccer and lacrosse and basketball, there's a lot of money for families to have to shell out to
Oh yeah.
be a part of those programs. I know when my son was playing year-round soccer, he's paying 3-4 grand a year to play that. Well, a lot of the football programs locally are all happen to be nonprofits. All the Pop Warner stuff is nonprofits, and so these companies these nonprofits rely on local people in the community to help subsidize some of the funding to actually run their programs. For example, we had to get 140 helmets reconditioned, I believe it was this year, right? So we had to get 140 helmets, like a nonprofit
What's the price per
football
helmet?
program. I don't know. It was
Pretty hefty,
the whole
though, right?
total was like 9 grand, right?
Yeah, for a nonprofit, that's
But for a nonprofit that basically operates with a small fee that the kids pay because we don't charge kids 3-4 grand for the season. And then the small fee they pay 350. Some clubs are 250, some are 350, some of them maybe 400. But what happened is because of that, these organizations don't have that money, so they're relying on the local organizations to come donate and sponsor and give money. And so Champions Football is one of those for us, right? It's
Mhm.
we are a nonprofit. Marketing Rebels, does some sponsorship with it. Dealmaker, Mark Evans DM is a big sponsor for us. A handful of other people in the space, which is cool. But at the same time, too, now we are going to build that up, and these two pieces that we've got here become profitable companies that allow us to make more money to put money into Champions Football and then help these local organizations actually and be able to fund and give money to these other organizations so they can provide a better experience for the kids in our community and better sports experience, better all around just, experience in general and learn more about football, have more fun, enjoy it, not worry about kids who, sometimes you got kids who are like just getting a pair of cleats, for the year can be a struggle, right? So what we can do is help with that too. Like the whole purpose of building these brands really is to generate revenue that we can also put some of that money back into Champions Football, buy kids cleats that need it locally, help these football programs locally, and so yeah. So anyways, that's the we can't tell you. I won't talk too much about what the Athlete Factory is, but it's gonna be pretty sweet.
yeah.
Sports Bread is an audience, and it's Athlete Factory is much bigger. Sports Bread is more of along the financial maverick mold.
Yeah, and
Super cool.
and Nate mentioned about helping the kids. Actually, today, Champions, the organization, there was a dad that reached out. He has a kid, couldn't get him the cleats at the moment, and Nate went over and with the organization, we went and he got the kids cleats.
Yeah.
And now he has
Champions Football.
cleats. He has cleats that he can wear and play, and that's what we're doing is trying to make a difference in the community, but also in these kids' lives. We got to remember a lot of these kids don't have the opportunity or don't have the path to get there. Someone needs to help them, and once you get them on that path, it's where you're going to see them grow, and that's what we're trying to do with that. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited of what we've been able to do this year. I think we've made a lot of impact. In what do we have in the organization right now? How many kids?
We have 106.
That's 106 kids that we're already making an impact in their life that they're going to remember once they're 25, 30, and their kids are coming out. It's like, oh, my kids needs to play 7-on-7 because this did this for me. So,
And what's super cool is we've got a lot of coaches that have come out and big thing you do with sports is dad ball, right? And
Yeah.
so what we did is we've got a handful of coaches like Coach Z over here. He doesn't have kids, but he's out there on the field and he's out there spending his weekends with these kids, and it's pretty cool to see because we're creating that environment where they're learning, they're growing, and the coaches that we've got just truly believe in our mission and what we're trying to do as a nonprofit organization, right? So it's pretty cool to see that. But anyways, off track. That's what Athlete Factory and Sports Bread kind of stemmed from. How do we make this? How do we give back to our community in a much bigger way, right?
Like Nick said, Sports Spread is building the audience, and Athlete Factory, it's gonna be huge. You just guys gotta wait on that
Listen
one.
to this, might have to take the uncommon advice.